Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to tonight's edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime TV, an edition that is going to be looking at what has made news in Cameroon with the viral, shocking video of the mishandling of a lawyer, Barrister Tamfu Richard, by elements of National Gendarmerie. We are aware of a call to order that was issued by the Secretary of State for National Gendarmerie, Galax Etoga, who warned against rising cases of abusive detentions across gendarmerie cells in Cameroon. Not long after that call to order, this video shocked the world. Desmond, can we take a look at it? While Desmond is preparing for this video, I wanted us to see it before I even introduce my panelists. If time permits, we also are going to be discussing about the possibility to engage in active politicking in the Northwest and Southwest regions next year for the presidential elections. What are going to be the strategies implemented by the political parties who will be hoping to get votes from the population of the Southwest and Northwest regions next year? But if that video is available, can we take a look at it?
Ouais, chef, ouais.
This video actually took Cameroonians and the international community aback, with elements of the National Gendarmerie molesting a lawyer, well-known lawyer in that matter. Barrister Tamfu Richard was behind that pickup, and we could listen to onlookers shouting, not actually believing that this is happening in a nation where the boss called them to order few weeks back. We're going to be looking at this with our panelists who are with me in the studio. Two of them, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel is here with us. He is the National President of the Reform Party. Good evening, Senior Barrister. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to your esteemed televiewers. Good evening to Reform Party members and sympathizers in Marwa, extreme north. It's a pleasure being with you this evening.
Is it not good those of Douala?
I give special greetings to those of Marwa, extreme north.
Okay, thank you for coming, and also to you, Ndiwum Emmanuel, who is a core member of Cameroon Civil Society. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening to Senior Barrister. Good evening to all the lovers of Prime Hour, especially the people from Kum, where I come from. I wish to take this opportunity to say that I know Prime Hour is highly watched in upstation in Bamenda, where the governor is. That the crisis between Bamenda and the Nkwen people that has led to the death of a Kum man, Bobe Augustine Gam, us, the Kum youths, have launched an appeal to the government of the Northwest region of Cameroon since morning, hoping that he pops into the affair to make sure that justice is rendered, because we cannot be living in a region that is already almost in hell, and at the same time, such things, at the time we believe that we are supposed to cohabit with everybody from everywhere in a national territory, and such things are happening until we are already having a corpse. It's regrettable that it happened. And again, that today a native of my village where I come from was gone down at Tabesi Junction, a police officer, by the so-called Amber that we were told that they had all disappeared. And it's a shocking thing that today we are losing two healthy men from Kum into the hands of issues that that could easily be handled. I think the security dispositions in Northwest and Southwest, one should not lose sight of the fact that the security bosses, starting from the number one of the regions, Southwest, Northwest, the governors, nobody should lose sight of the fact that anything is under control. Because I was in Bamenda last week, and in the course of this program, I will relate to you some experiences that I went through in Bamenda. And you actually, some of them in Bamenda call Bamenda Baghdad, and you cannot argue it, because what you see in Bamenda paints a picture of people actually living in Baghdad. Thanks for having me.
Okay, what happened with the Bobe?
Yes, the case of, there is a long-standing dispute that has always existed between the Nkwens and the Bamenda Nkwe people. It so much happened that Bobe is somebody who has been so much planted in that area. He was somebody who loves development. He went and settled there. A dispute happened. I don't want to say like we put it on our official page, the Kum Youth page. We are not in any way accusing the phone, but we are telling the phone that you were around the vicinity when that incident happened. And to that effect, the people who are guilty must be fished out, because after torturing him, we are talking about torturing somebody.
Why was he tortured?
Well, there is a land dispute that is going on between these two factions that I've just mentioned. Like we usually know in our country, somebody went and brought the gendarmes, and in course of the affair, the gendarmes did their best to have taken away some people, and this Bobe thought that the issue was over. But some people afterwards came back in the absence of the gendarmes, and as they started beating him, he ended up there at PMI from the beatings. So, like I said, the Kum Youth, we are putting in the Kum page, we need justice for that.
Okay, we hope that the competent authorities are going to investigate what may have happened to the Bobe, and our condolences are to the bereaved families. Now, we are looking at this, what happened to Barrister Tamfu Richard, after this note that was given by Secretary of State for National Gendarmerie, Galax Etoga, warns against rising cases of abusive detentions. This was 3 weeks ago, and it is captioned Custody and Abusive Detentions in National Gendarmerie Units. He says that reliable information indicates a recurrence of detentions in sites and abusive detentions with National Gendarmerie Units. It is important to remember that custody as a form of deprivation of freedom is governed by legal texts and regulations that defines its duration and conditions. To ensure compliance with these regulations, strict enforcement is required with penalties including disciplinary actions and legal prosecution. Additionally, the state may take further legal action to seek financial compensation for victims of abusive following judicial proceedings. Furthermore, regular oversight is necessary. Investigations into execution practices must be conducted at all levels of gendarmerie units with unannounced inspections to monitor safety rooms. Unit commanders must provide weekly reports on the status of detainees under their custody, and formation commanders will be held personally accountable for any lapses or failures in oversight. Proper anticipation and preventive measures should be in place to avoid any violations. This came from the boss of the National Gendarmerie, but the video of what happened to your colleague, Barrister Tamfu, is not 3 weeks above this. Is it to say that they did not read this? Because what they did was in public, but this is abusive detention and rising cases of abusive treatments in the units, in the cell units. Now, if this could happen in public, what would happen behind the cells?
Mr. Kum, what you are not reading there is the rampant disrespect of the criminal procedure by the gendarmes and the police.
Okay.
You see, what happened to my colleague is that this gendarmerie unit called Groupement. The gendarmerie unit called Groupement Territorial de Gendarmerie issued a convocation, an invitation for this for Barrister Tamfu's client to come to their unit, and as usual, because the law says that you should invite somebody, give somebody a convocation to appear before the unit at least 48 hours, before. And if that person does not appear, if you invite him 3 times and he fails to appear, go to the state council and obtain a warrant. These gendarmes and police people think that that provision is too slow for them. It's too slow for their liking. So they devised some method by which they will issue a convocation, and on it they mention their reception. So as you receive it, come. That their reception is what these fellows were trying to enforce. Because in derogation to what the law provided, they thought that it was their right to go whisk off somebody from the streets just by presenting a convocation. You see, and it's a nice thing that the minister came out with his note before. Unfortunately for them, they fell on a lawyer who stood his grounds and said, you have to respect the law. And since they think that it is their right to violate the law and go unpunished, they took it upon themselves to inflict corporal punishment on this lawyer, to humiliate the lawyer in public, beat him as if he had been a highway robber, and at the end of it, when the lawyers went to the unit, their boss, as if he had no role to play in the whole thing, said, oh, I'm very sorry, we are sorry, these were misguided elements. But lo, this whole thing stemmed from the boss who signed that convocation. It began from him, because had he not signed the convocation asking that they should bring this person, this suspect, immediately, his elements would not have thought it their right. I don't know which law prescribes that right for them. They wouldn't have thought it their right to go catch this woman and ask that they should bring the person. So I want to just make a small reminder with this very Barrister Tamfu. When he was just sworn in as a lawyer, the brigade commander of Bepanda arrested him. He went to the gendarmerie brigade of Bepanda with his client. This brigade commander, overzealous as he was there, just had a grip of him and threw him inside the cell. So then it was Barrister Kamga who was bâtonnier. He went straight to the Senate and asked the Secretary of State to dismiss this man, otherwise lawyers will wreak hell. And that commandant was dismissed. So I think that this is not going to be short of what we the lawyers are going to ask for this particular case, because people cannot take it upon themselves to violate the law every day. They violate the law every day. They apply an unwritten law and they take it as if they had a right to, you say, Mr. Kum, we may think that it is only lawyers, eh? Let me tell you that even state councils suffer from the hands of these people. We've had cases, reported cases of gendarmes and police people attacking state councils. So you see, look, it is a real cause for concern. And that is the reason why, if you remember very well, among the reforms that Reform Party was proposing is that investigation be taken off the hands of these people and handed over to the state councils directly. Let them send their judicial police officers to work in the chambers of the state councils. You see, that will avoid this type of mess. Because when you ask them to carry out investigation, look at what they do. They don't only flout the laws, they take upon themselves, they arrogate to themselves the right to make their own laws and apply them. Nobody ever gave them the right to change the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code, which say that you should give somebody 3 convocations. If it doesn't come, go to state council and apply for a warrant. But they issue convocation and say, their exception. Come immediately. Who gave them that right? You see, so this is something that is a real cause for concern. And we are going to see to it that this, what I call the misguided elements or what, they are going to have exemplary punishment. I will personally see to it that I defend the interests of Barrister Tamfu by taking these idiots to the military tribunal.
Okay. We have just been joined by one of our panelists, Ken Ernest King Afrik. He is the National and Continental Youth Leader for Human Rights and Development Advocacy. He is the Southwest Regional Advisor for the Cameroon National Youth Council. He's the Continental President of Africa Patriotic Youth Council Movement and Director of King Africa Global Solutions. Okay, we are glad to have you.
Thank you. It's my honor to meet you, to appreciate the contribution the Media Prime is doing to inform the society and to see that the society is moving towards the right direction. And I'm pleased to sit here with our senior barrister, whom I've been watching throughout, with the other co-panelists. I said I'm pleased to be here and to contribute to national building. Thank
you for coming all the way from Boya. I'm sure you were caught in traffic, the reason why you are joining us now. Ndiwum Emmanuel, you, I don't know, I'm sure you read what the Secretary of State for National Gendarmerie, Galax Etoga, sent out, because he says that reliable information indicates a recurrence of detentions, incite and abusive detentions within national gendarmerie units. It means that he has reliable information. And after what happened, he issued another communique requesting for an investigation. The appreciation of his moves, because he says, I don't want this. And immediately after this, he issues an investigation.
Thank you very much. It is sad. Why do I say it is sad? I have an impression that those who used to say Cameroon ceased from being governed a very long time ago were very right, and we failed to listen to them. High instructions have damaged Cameroon. That communique from the Galas Itoga that you are reading, when that communique came out, I was somewhere in Bepanda with friends, with a group of friends, and they were very happy. At the time they were happy, I asked them why they were happy. They said, no. At long last, the boss of the National Gendarmerie has come to the realization that there was cruel, barbaric treatment in the various gendarmerie detention facilities in the national territory. Inasmuch as the communique sounds rich and looks very well, I told them my joy goes with what is practical and not with what is written. Because there is a difference in Cameroon between what is beautifully crafted on a piece of paper and how it is being implemented. And you bear witness with me that I comfort myself once more repeating that statement tonight. Because after that communique, a lot of people were happy. Because in that communique, I don't know if you took out the complete communique, there were directives as to where to get to and some contacts. If you are in trouble with the national gendarmerie unit in any corner of the country, and you find yourself being abusively detained without any reason, and you know that you are by a right, you get to them. After this program, I will go through my gadget, and I will get, because I put it somewhere for future use. It is very sad and unfortunate that the case of Barrister Tamfu Richard has come once again to let Cameroonians know that we are almost in a lawless country, that those who are supposed to maintain law and order, they are behaving like criminals. You cannot imagine that forces who should handle criminals are instead behaving like criminals. Whereas the citizens of Cameroon, like I've always said, have remained law-abiding, hard-working citizens. Of course, if the citizens of Cameroon were not law-abiding, peaceful citizens that have been provoked for 42 years, consistent provocation, and they have refused to rise up, then you see that something is wrong somewhere. We saw the case of Longe. We cried. An investigation was opened. We are waiting for the results. We saw the case of Willie de Paris. Now, the case of Barrister Tamfu Richard. An investigation was opened for 72 hours for results to be presented to the, well, I don't know whether to the boss or the military court in Monajo. We are waiting for the 72 hours to see how far it is ready to go. But it's regrettable, Mr. Liu. Like I said, you asked my appraisal. Let me finish with the appraisal. It is good to speak in good faith, and that it fails to be practiced than to sit quiet and be blamed. So I want to think that Galax Etoga did well to have spoken in the first place. We are witnesses that he spoke, and those who were supposed to put it into practice have failed. Now, as the boss, it goes back to him. Take the necessary measures, and that is where I align with the senior barristers, that we don't want to see these people just go to jail. They need to be taken off the emblems of the nation, put on them in the name of uniform, because that uniform is bought by us. We don't put uniform on you to come and smash us. A senior barrister being dragged in the mud like a cat, like a dog. Then one more of that woman who cannot even read and write, who does not know anything about her right. We are finished. And I am calling on the Bar Association of Cameroon that this is a golden opportunity for you people to let Cameroonians know that you are at their defense. Otherwise, at the end of this case, if it goes like any other case, we are afraid we will be afraid to say that the lawyers in Cameroon, we may no longer need them. If at the end of the day, one of their colleagues is in danger and ends up without any significant progress in the case, then something is very wrong. And I want to say that the national territory, the international world is looking, and they are confirming that Cameroon remains one of the countries that abuses the right of her citizens on daily basis, which is something that in the 21st century should be condemned. It should not be sustainable in Cameroon. At a time we are trying to clean the image of an already spoiled country, disguided elements in the name of, and Mr. Liu, we will be tempted to ask, somewhere I made this statement, I don't know, is it not possible for the National Gendarmerie College or training centers curriculum to be revisited? These guys have gone completely above the law. The Gestapo is almost being imported into Cameroon through the police and the gendarmerie. Yeah,
but we should also note that it should not be generalized. Those are some elements. You will not tell me that you've never had an issue and you were well treated by a gendarme officer.
No, you are saying a different thing. I appreciate. That's why I say misguided. Some misguided elements should not spoil the cause. We shouldn't give. But because of the recurrence of such acts of torture in Cameroon, we are even talking about the gendarmerie today. The gendarmerie is better. It is very difficult to hear that the gendarmerie has been involved in such, but the police that are well trained, to deal with the civilians in Cameroon constantly have been molesting and torturing people. I think they are pushing it too far.
Okay, some elements of the
Yes.
police and some elements of the gendarmerie. Your appreciation, did you watch the video? And knowing that you also have something to do with the human rights, what did you make out of what happened to Barrister Tamfu in Douala here?
Thank you, Mr. Leo. I think it's just a repetition of repeated act of abuse on human rights in Cameroon. So it's not the last, it's not the first. And I want to say that I look at it as a governance problem.
Okay.
And secondly, as a lack of control and respect to the laws that governs the Cameroonians and the laws enforcement officers. Because they have their limits, and for them to exceed their limit, it means that they have somehow backup, which I refer it to as governance problem. Because if there is no impunity, because we've had repeated actions like this, and if nothing has been done to those that have committed similar actions, and it will give room for continuation of such abuse to keep occurring. So that is why I keep saying that we as young people need to revisit the way our governance system, we should be the voice of those that want change. The change, we want to see the government take immediate action, because we've had issue. Just imagine during this crisis in Northwest and Southwest, we've had a lot of video evidence of abuse of human rights. What has been done? We need public sanction, even to an extent public hearing, so that the people should be aware that this person did this, and the government took a position of public hearing which resulted to this punishment. That will go a long way to retard others from doing such.
From doing such a senior barrister, looks like you guys are particularly targeted, because the relationship between you and elements of forces of law and order, they have really never been friendly. They have been very hostile towards you guys. I would not want to mention cases, but what is the problem?
Well, in all fairness, I think we should tell the truth. Mr. Galax Etoga, whom I've never met, is somebody who is doing a very good job. Before this note came out, I noticed that this minister forced all the gendarmerie brigades to install video cameras in their offices, so that whatever happens there can be seen, can go down in record. You imagine that it is because after taking this additional precaution of installing video cameras in the brigades, that this man noticed that there were still violations, that he came out with this note. Because it was noticed that torture, for instance, was still taking place. They will carry people out of the brigade and torture them behind the house, bring them back, and you see, they will keep people in the cell. When they know that the state council is coming, they remove them to some other location. When the state council passes, they bring them back. So it is because of all this that the minister, the Secretary of State for Defense, came up with this note. And what we are seeing today is a resistance by the people who don't want to be brought to order. These are people who don't want to be controlled, who want to behave as if they were in a no man's land. And that is the reason why I say, as the national president of Reform Party, I am calling on the Secretary of State for Defense to make sure that these guys, these fellows are sacked. Let them be sacked from the gendarmerie, because these are the people who spoil the good work he's trying to do. Now, you asked the question about the problem between lawyers and security forces. Well, there is no particular problem. The only thing I see is competition. There are some people who think that although they missed the way for their career, they ought to be gaining what others who went to the right way are gaining. So when you go to lawyers' chambers, you find consultation fee, file opening fee, and then honoraries. Curiously, when you go to police stations and gendarmerie brigades, they have introduced file opening fees, even visit to locus, fees for visit to locus. So it's a matter of competition. And to tell you the truth, many police people and many gendarme officers consider lawyers as people who come to stop them from eating. They consider lawyers as people who disturb their eating. It is not unusual for you to see a gendarme or a police officer ask a litigant, why did you take a lawyer? Why did you brief counsel? It's not uncommon. So that is, you see, it's a matter of competition. It's a matter of the market. People are trying to earn more than what their salary provides for them. Of course, this is illegal. We'll declare it because it is illegal. The law does not permit that any officer of the law should have more than what his salary gives him. There are so many offenses provided for under the law for any person who asks a litigant to give him monies for something, for any service. But that does not deter them. They keep on indulging in these practices. You see, I think we will have to move. We'll have to move the legislator for some reform, because all these things are happening because in the Criminal Procedure Code you have what is termed the privilege against prosecution. You cannot prosecute. There's a provision that provides that you cannot prosecute a judicial police officer in the area where he is working, and that gives them wings. It gives them wings because they take it as some protection, and then for you to prosecute him, you have to pass through the Procureur General. So all those protections are responsible for this irresponsible behavior, because imagine that the Procureur General does not want his judicial police officers to be prosecuted. It means that all the offenses committed by judicial police officers within that jurisdiction will go unpunished. That is what it means, and that is the reason why you see all this misbehavior. So I think that we have to move, that all those things be lifted, those immunities be lifted, so that these people should face trial for all their acts. Because if they were being punished where they are working and without the permission of anybody, then they will sit up. It's as a result of these things that were inserted inside the Criminal Procedure Code, giving them immunity from prosecution in the area where they are working, and then making it more difficult to prosecute them. That is why we are having these problems. So I think that we should move. We are going to move that all those immunities be lifted, so that these police or gendarmerie officers be brought to book.
I want our televiewers to understand what actually happened. It means that unlawfully a client of Barrister Tamfu was going to be taken to the gendarmerie.
Yes,
why was he beaten?
I said that the Criminal Procedure Code provides that if somebody is if there is a complaint brought about against somebody, the investigating officer should issue 3 convocations. That must, with proof of service. 3 convocations with proof of service. If after having received those 3, the person does not appear, then the investigating officer should go to the State Council and obtain a warrant of arrest. But these police people and gendarme officers think that this procedure is too slow and too long, so they devise a way around it by issuing convocations on which they write their reception. Come report immediately. That report immediately is not provided for in the law, and that is what led to problems in this particular case, because Barrister Tamfu's client was being asked to report immediately, and Tamfu said, but this is not what the law provides. As he stood up now, this fellows thought that it was their right to cow him down because he was trying to stop them from carrying out their illegal act of taking somebody to their unit without respecting the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code.
Yes, but now, if the gendarme boss says that it has come to his knowledge, reliable information indicates that there's a recurrence of what is happening, especially behind bars, but there was a public show on what happened to Barrister Tamfu. Now, what is the problem? Why would there be this recurrence? Is it the fact that he says that enough monitoring is not being done, or punishment is not given to these guys?
Well, Mr. Liu, we live in a country now where beatings, public beatings, has become the rule of the new law. When we taught about the German flogging in Cameroon in those days, public flogging and what it led to, we thought it was history in the past. We are living in now. When these guys are doing what they're doing, mind you, they are not counting on what the Secretary of State for the National Gendarmerie can do. We all know that in this country, there are those who are above the law and they have their backups. If at the end of the day, something happens to them, then we believe that they were just simple misguided elements. We have seen in this country where people have committed such crimes and at the end have been promoted to the highest ranks. It might not shock me in this particular case. But my interest is, when you watch these guys speak in public, it gives you an impression that they are above the law and that there is somebody somewhere protecting them. Let me just give you a simple case. I was in Bamenda last week. I went out with some friends around one popular area, Bonapriso, mile 2 junction, Bamenda. A guy left with a bike rider, was going to the barbing salon. A Janam guy just stopped the bike. Say, young man, descend. I'm telling you that he charged that guy. The guy was just putting on a half trouser, rushing. They had a wedding. He wanted to have his haircut and then go back to the wedding. That guy collected every paper that was on the guy. The guy said, "This is my ID card." He handed it to the gendarme. The gendarme said, "Your phone?" He said, "No, I'm just around here. We have a wedding. I put my phone on charge because I'll be using it for the whole day, and that I want to have my haircut there." The gendarme asked him to sit by the roadside. Behold, people were watching. They charged that guy right down to his panties. I mean, on the public street. Imagine what will happen if the guy struggles to resist. They might tag him, amber, and shoot him down. At that point, I walked up there since they were speaking French. I struggled to speak to them. One of them looked at me and said, "Mais monsieur, même toi, on pouvait te interpeller, hein? Tu es en train de nous déranger." I said, "But this young man," and luckily enough, the young man came from a good background. The young man told them that enough of this rubbish. You have taken my ID card. If you are not letting me go, I will leave you with the ID card and I'll go. The man told him that if you know you can walk, I'll walk out. This is a colleague who came and said, "Mais monsieur, remet sa card." The young man already told him that it will be a war between you and I. You have wasted. Why am I citing all of this? He saw himself already very far up there, that he can just ask any citizen to sit down by the roadside with all the doors in Bamenda. I equally have a situation where I visited a brigade here in Douala. I will not cite the name because a friend was taken there. The friend was called on phone without any warrant. But when he got there, they told him that, "No, you are not going back to the house." He said, "But where's my convocation? Give my convocation." Somebody just gave my number. They say you are not going home. It took the intervention of many people before the guy left the place. So we are saying that, in as much as I appreciate what Galax Ituga is writing, Let him start from set in Yaoundé, where he is. The highest torture in this country begins from there. He should start cleaning right from up to the least brigade, because these tortures are repeatedly carried on every day, both in and out of the brigade vicinities. Like Senior Barrister said there.
Yeah, but he has written, he has written that furthermore, regular oversight is necessary. Investigations into execution practices must be conducted at all levels. All levels does not exclude said. That is what he says. Levels of gendarmerie unit with unannounced inspection and monitor for safety rooms.
Which is a very good.
This one has happened, and immediately he has issued
72 hours investigation.
Yes.
Which is laudable. We appreciate. But we don't appreciate what is written. I am saying that most Cameroonians, as of now, they want to see practical results, not papers, not communiques. Yeah. Communiques do not save people if they end at the level of written and reading.
Yeah, but you say you want to see. He has written. An action has been taken. He has requested an investigation. Are these not actions?
Request is a request.
Yes.
Action is an action, and it must be practical. We are talking about practical action.
Yeah,
like somebody said a while ago,
the procedure must be followed. Except you want him to do exactly what.
Since he wrote this communique, which is very beautiful, a lot of cases have passed by. Except you want to tell me that since he said they were supposed to do impromptu visits, that none of the impromptu visits have been fruitful.
Yeah,
but there have been.
Yeah, but
there have been cases.
But they follow administrative procedure. I don't know. What do you expect him to do at this level? Just get those gendarme officers and send them to.
Mr. Leo, at the hour that we are talking, those guys were supposed to be behind bars first.
They are behind bars.
The gendarmes?
They are behind bars, sir.
The guys of the Tamfu?
Yes, they are behind bars.
Well, that's the information I'm getting from you.
They are behind bars.
Good. Which you should have clarified this.
No, they are behind bars. They are behind bars.
But at least I don't know whether you went to their unit to investigate, because.
No, I cannot say what I didn't do.
Okay.
It happened at the time I was not in Douala.
Okay.
And by the time I entered Douala, yes, Barrister says that, Senior Barrister said they are behind bars, which is already a good start. And it links to what I was about saying, that we need practical actions and not paper works and pronouncements. However, I am thinking that they need to step up. They need to step up the ladder, because these guys are becoming, too much, Mr. Liu. We cannot live in a country where those who are supposed to protect us are the nightmare we should be running away from. It means that something is wrong.
Okay. It means that something is wrong. You are an advisor to the National Youth Council for the Southwest region, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes, but what do you get from the young people that you talk with, especially in the Southwest region? Are they afraid of gendarme officers? Are they afraid of police officers? Or they see them as friends and are they more protected because these guys are around?
Yeah, I think if you mention issue of Southwest, it will be unfortunate for you to understand that there is no cordial relationship.
There is an ongoing conflict.
Yeah, and there is no cordial relationship as expected between the citizen and the law enforcement officers, especially in Boya, where they constantly harass youth in search of their phones and wallet for personal reasons. So it will be abusive for me to say that they have a very cordial relationship, because what happened in Boya in daily basis. I myself, I am constant with the youth on ground. I experience it myself. Even when you travel from Douala to Boya, you find it very difficult. Even when you provide your ID card, they still continue to question you and find a need to get something from you, which is money. And so I believe that there is much that is expected from the hierarchy when it comes to issues like this, because remember, this issue has happened to very top officials in the country. If we have Longe, he went through this. We are still waiting to see what will happen to those that carry out that kind of act. And it's only the result of what is happening to those that continue to abuse the law that will give room for such to stop.
Okay. Yes, I was trying to squeeze some information out of Ndiwum there. I don't know whether I'll get it from from you, senior barrister. The question is issues of our procedure. The Secretary of State issued a communique. Now, how do you convince the population that what you ordered for is respected or not respected, and that those who do not respect are brought to book?
Thank you. Mr. Kum, you see, we have to make a distinction here between two things. One, disciplinary procedure, and two, criminal procedure.
Okay.
Now, the non-respect of prescriptions, because these are military men, gendarmes are military men, and they were acting in uniform, which means they can be, well, they are going to be tried by the military tribunal. So, these written instructions, dish out by the Secretary of Civil Defense, those are what they call consign, written consign, written instructions. So, for not respecting these written instructions, they are already in trouble.
Okay.
Criminally, they are already in trouble. Then now, disciplinarily, for not respecting the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code, they are in trouble. So that is the side of the discipline measures that are awaiting them. Now, criminally, torture is a felony. It's a felony. If you torture somebody and the person dies, you are going to face life jail. It's a felony. Now, they have tortured a lawyer, so it is but normal that they are going to be sent to military tribunal for torture. Again, they were acting in uniform. Abuse of office, that is another offense for which they are going to stand trial. So these guys are not only going to be prosecuted on the disciplinary flank, but on the criminal flank as well. They will stand trial for what they did. That is why I said, on the disciplinary side, I am calling on the Secretary of State for Defense to dismiss them.
Yeah, but the problem is Ndiwum wants Cameroonians to see that that justice has been done against what has been happening, because if not of what you just said here, many persons would not know that those guys were taken. The elements.
Yes.
I want us to understand that how does, okay, you are not a military personnel, to know how it happens. When in a case like what happened to Barrister Tamfu, how does it operate till the sentence is given?
Okay, now that they were arrested, an investigator will be assigned. They will take their statements. Those statements will be sent to the government commissioner, the commissioner for government, who will go through them, because formerly they used to be sent to the minister, but that has been decentralized. Now the commissioner for government has the jurisdiction to entertain all those procedures, and he can send them to the military tribunal directly. So he doesn't need to wait for any permission from anybody. When the statements are taken, since the minister said for 72 hours, as the statements will be recorded, they will be sent to the commissioner for government, who will look at the statements. They will take by Tamfu's statement and also statement of the witnesses. All those videos you are seeing will be put inside the file, and that will be sent to the commissioner for government, who will now prefer charges. If you look at it, if he sees that there is a felony inside, he will send it to the examining magistrate, because all felonies must pass through examining magistrate. But if they are misdemeanors, then he will send it straight to the court. But as I said, torture is a felony, so he will certainly go to the examining magistrate
now
after investigation.
You both are going to look at this. You briefly, and then Ndiwum will talk. When lawyers in a nation are treated like this, what happens to a common man?
Well, any person who takes upon himself to treat a lawyer that way, well, he has decided to die by roasting. Because there are people who may want to die by drinking poison. But if somebody decides to die by roasting, they make fire and put him there and roast him like good. Fine. So he has decided to die by roasting because, let me tell you, when these type of people are taken to the courts, what will certainly happen is that no lawyer will defend them. They will be tried before the court and no lawyer will defend them. So all the lawyers will stand behind their colleague. There will be nobody on the other side. So you can imagine the type of sentence that will be awaiting him. They will be at the mercy of the judges. At the mercy of the judges. Who are military men and who want to see discipline reigning in the army. So they are not going to have it easy at all. They won't have it easy. So I think that it's a very bad posture for any person to adopt. People who take on that line of action are in fact committing suicide.
Ndiwum?
They are committing suicide.
Do military men, men in uniform, do they see lawyers as a key competitor that we must bring down before the eyes of the population? If not, why this animosity? Because it looks like they go wilder, they go even harder when they discover that it's a lawyer.
Yes, what breeds that animosity between these two people is the fear factor is there. Jealousy too. But what I know for sure, because I've assisted, there was a case where Senior Barrister Lehman sent me somewhere with one of his lawyers. When I went there, I met the divisioner of that police station. As we were talking, he was very friendly to me, very friendly. By the time he discovered I was the lawyer, he went mad. And he told me that even giving me his number, he would not. That I would have met him without a lawyer. These are things we could talk them out. He told the lawyer to my face, you know very well that we don't agree. You are the guys who come here, collect information. When you reach somewhere, you don't interpret them the way they pass here. Which means that you are making work difficult for us. I'm using his words. You people are making work difficult for us, the police. At one point, one will also agree that the kind of corruption and bribery that transpires in the police stations and the gendarmerie stations, when they see a lawyer, they already know that the lawyer wants to put facts straight. And putting facts straight simply means that if this man was, you know, the law forbids that a citizen is not supposed to be in the police custody or gendarme custody for more than 3 days. After 3 days, you are supposed to go to the state council. But you know that gendarme officers, the commanders and the police commissioner, they put people there for more than 3 weeks. Like the senior barrister says, they know the day the state council is coming. That day they give you people some freedom to go to the backyard, and then be making as if you are feeling free and breathing new air. When the state council passes by, he sees very few people inside. Those people that have refused to collaborate. Because if you can be there for 1 month, if you agree and promise that you collaborate at the end. Those who have remained stiff are those that the state council will meet. He will sign the bordereau. If they have been there, if the commissioner indicates that they have been here for more than 5 days, especially worst if it's a Friday. A Friday is the worst day for the inmates in the cells. You are going straight.
The suspects.
For the suspects, please. For the suspect. You are going along with the state council. But those who agree to collaborate, once the commissioner knows that the state council is passing, even if he's not on seat, he calls his boys. Remove, tell, you put them behind. When the state council goes, they come back to the cell. At the end of the day, they sign. They pay. Where does the money go to? There's no receipt for that. So that's equally one of the factors where the gendarme police relationship is not very flexible. They know that as the lawyer is coming in, they will start preaching the law. They will start preaching the penal code, quoting things like this, and to them there. What they need is to tell you that I'm your boss. You can pay this amount and leave. And you know, People are fragile. The area too is not very good for many people. Nobody wants to stay there. The fear of staying in the cell for more than 2 days is the beginning of wisdom. So the people have to do everything, call family members, sell, even auction, even their goods to pay and leave. But when the lawyer comes in and he wants to follow the procedure that is found in the penal code, which is not what the guys want. So it simply explains the fact that even after
when they meet a lawyer and they have to pounce on you guys.
Yes, they have to pounce on them. Because some of the lawyers, I just cited you an example here. Somebody like Senior Barrister Limen, who is a no-nonsense man, when you get to such a place, at one point, the kind of quarrels you get them with the divisionaire, you stand there, you ask yourself, are these lawyers coming from elsewhere? Are they not Cameroonians?
Okay.
Because you see the tension rising.
Let me take a few of messages coming in. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and all the panelists for this interesting program. I have a worry that the military court has been judging but civilians and not the military for crimes committed. Amabo from Boya. Greetings, Mr. Liu. If the state councils want to stop this rampant torture, it is just a matter of minutes. It is a system in a system for purpose. Roland G is writing from Akeba. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I was taken to the gendarmerie set in Yaoundé, and later they took me to my house and gathered all my business phones worth 700,000 francs just because they noticed money was sent to me from someone in Bamenda. And when I resisted, they tagged me amber because I was speaking English. Till date, they have made away with my phones. Our country is in the hands, of particular people. So people are living in fear. In Jikam is writing from Ebolova. This one says, good evening, Big Leo and panel members. I was a victim for no crime and taken to the Gendarmerie Brigade in July. The situation was between a parent and the accounting department. The parent was actually wrong because she wanted double collect money from her husband. The husband said no money be given to her without his knowledge. The lady called a colonel who brought gendarmerie officers to come and arrest whoever they met at work. They did that, and some colleagues were treated like what the gendarmes did on the viral video of Barrister Tamfu. Thank God for the honorary consul who came to our rescue. Okay, well, good evening to you, Muke. Good evening to everyone. Please, Cameroon is a country. All uniformed persons in this country are, I will not use those words. What have they done to those who killed? Any insulting word, I will not read. Greetings, Mr. Liu. What the gendarmes did is very bad, and I stand with Senior Tamfu and pray justice prevails. But please, they should not call the gendarmes idiots on TV. It's just so poor. These are some of the things that are making the lawyer-gendarme rivalry more difficult to solve. There should be some degree of mutual respect between these two auxiliaries of justice. We should hold individuals responsible and not the gendarme corps. Galax Etoga is doing a formidable job, but there are just some bad officers out there. Regards. Social activist Ale writing. Good evening to you, bro. I'm glad to know that you are watching the program. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. Tells Ndiwum that his analysis are just perfect. Theory is watching from Yaoundé. These policemen in Douala think everything is in their hands. Police force is full of everywhere. The police, yes. How do we breed a very cordial relationship between the gendarmes, the police force, not only with the lawyers but with the population, so that we see them all as very friendly persons who would come talk politely to you and take you to wherever you are called?
I think first is accepting the reality and accepting our limitations at work.
Okay.
Because if you, for instance, a lawyer is not just somebody who gets up and be called a lawyer. He has read a lot of military officer. You can still have first school and become one. So there is that inferiority complex, I think, that exists and create this conflict. So they have to accept the reality. These are class of noble people in the society, everywhere. I'm from a legal background as well. So I understand what happened to lawyer and military officers when they meet. Because they are always like, these people are coming to interfere, and they cannot, if they cannot have a sound argument with lawyers, and that is where the problem is. If there is a problem and you call your colleague or your Mr. or barrister, this, can we have a talk? That is where understanding begins. But if you want to use your uniform to intimidate, there must be conflict, because he who knows how the law is supposed to be applied will not hear into yours approach of submission, and that is where conflict is always arising.
Yes, but how do we transform this, especially amongst them? How do we transform this spirit of animosity animating you guys, senior barrister, you and the gendarme police corps?
Well, we are all actors in the judicial process, and in the past, we've been having joint seminars of all the judicial actors. We've had a number. When Mr. Leslie Foban was Procureur of Bonabere, we had such meetings with all the forces. But since he left, those who are there now don't care about it. Those who are in the other court jurisdictions don't care a dime, don't care a damn, and that is the reason why you see there is a gap between the various actors. If these various people can come together and iron out their differences, what is the problem? You see, like he was saying, I won't buy what he was saying. Like he was saying, for somebody to become a lawyer, you have to spend so many years studying. But they are learned police people and they are learned gendarmes. That we have to understand. It is not because of illiteracy, sir. We have very learned gendarmes. We have very learned police people. In fact, I had one of my classmates who was assistant regional delegate for police here. So, I mean, we went to school together. In most cases, we all go to university together. But because some come to the bar and they are not admitted, they go and try their hand at the police and they're taken, or they go to gendarmerie and they're taken. That does not make them illiterate. So we have learned people both at the bar and at the police and the gendarmerie, which we encourage. You see, if you have all the police officers, that is those of the officer rank, if they are all learned, you will not have this problem. The problem is with the rank and file. Those down there, the people with the V's, those are the people who cause trouble. You see? Because when a lawyer comes to a unit to assist his client, they will tell you that you are a lawyer. Your job is to sit quiet like a pillar. In fact, it is even better for this person to come to that unit without a lawyer than to be there with a lawyer. You should sit quiet and just watch. They tell you that your duty is to make sure that his rights are not violated. Where is that set under the law? It's not said so. That is not what the law provides. The law says you assist your client. You assist your client. You have to make sure that the questions that are asked to your client, he understands them. He understands those questions. But they will not let you. They won't. So you see, it is a talk of war between the lawyers and the police or the gendarmes during investigation. No gendarme officer will want a lawyer to talk. No way. You don't have the right. They said they will tell you, wait for us in court, wait for the fire in court. You see, wait for the fire in court. So they want to show that they are the people mastering the procedure, whereas it is just beginning. I mean, when the thing comes to court, all that nonsense that they write there, at times it is trashed.
Yeah, but why do you call it nonsense?
I say nonsense because it is. Look, if you go by the dictates of this criminal procedure code, that thing is only supposed to inform. The value is informative. It's informative. It is in rare circumstances that it can be taken as proof. So, I mean, it is not going to be taken by the court as proof. So, but they behave as if that is what the court is going to use to try the matter. And as if witnesses will not be called, proofs are not going to be adduced and all that. No. It's just the beginning of the process. So, you see, if there is a seminar involving all the actors and the whole thing is explained, every person understanding what has to be done, how the judicial process unfolds, I don't think all this animosity, unnecessary animosity will come up. I have not had any problem with any senior officer because they understand. They know the rules, the role they are supposed to play and the role judicial actors are supposed to play. They don't give us trouble. But the rank and file, that is where the problem is. Because they consider the litigants as their plantation. I'm sorry, that is the truth. They consider the litigants as their plantation. And when you a lawyer come, you are looked upon as somebody who is coming to stop them, prevent them from eating. And that is why they are hostile.
Yeah, but the question is, how do we develop a better working relationship between the two of you? Because seemingly there is a notion that you guys are coming to teach us. How do we get a situation where the lawyers themselves respect these officers and the officers themselves respect you? Because they treat you as if you are civilians, yeah? They treat you as if you are people, anyway, you are civilians. Yes, the commoners. No, they want to bring you down in front of your clients, and you people also want to tell the client that you're up there. Except that's how I see it.
Constant briefing.
Mr. Kum, just 30 seconds, please.
Okay.
You see, I have to be very, very clear on this.
Yes.
I will not say that any gendarme or policeman has ever disrespected me. No,
Okay.
that is not true.
Okay.
You see, if you respect them, they respect you. If you want to come and teach them, you want to come and teach them on their seat.
Does it mean by
They-
that Tamfu-
No, please, no. They were not in the police station. They were not inside any unit. They were outside. In Tamfu's case, they were outside. I am saying that if you go to their unit and you want to come and dictate to them, you want to come and teach them, a foul, no matter how small, is the one to hash his eggs. So please, you see, lawyers should respect these people in their offices. You don't go to somebody's office and teach him. No. You see, if you are courteous, they will be courteous with you. But I'm saying that in the conduct of the litigation process, in the conduct of the investigation, the tendency is for them to give as little space to the lawyer as possible. They will tell you that wait for confrontation. When the confrontation comes, few of them will allow you to ask questions. Few of them, because those are the questions. That is the area where when you ask a question, it can destroy the case. And some of them behave as if they are parties to the case, whether they are not. They are just there to collect information and send to the state council. So, as I was saying, you see, the solution here is to create this fora where people will come together and the role of each person explained so that there will be no unnecessary friction.
But do lawyers have any advantage from the law perspective? Some, I don't want to call it immunity, but some sort of cover as a lawyer?
Your biggest cover is the law. You know, you master the law. Your mastery of the law is your biggest cover, because there is no such thing as a lawyer having immunity. There's no such thing. If you are a lawyer, you want to go criminal. No. The truth is said. You are a lawyer, you want to go criminal, know that you can also be prosecuted. That's true. So there's no such thing. But your mastery of the law is the biggest cover you have.
Okay.
So if you master the law, and you should behave like a good citizen. Preach by example. So don't say because I'm a lawyer I have the right to do this. Look at what we are saying now is true of these gendarmes who thought that because they are uniform, they can take upon themselves to misbehave and do any type of thing. You look at where it has landed them. See, so the same thing is true for lawyers. A lawyer should respect himself. He should show mastery of the law. And if you look at our ethics, the rules of our ethics, you have to always be of good demeanor. You are a gentleman, and so you should remain a gentleman at all times.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. It's Enanga from Likoko Membia. Likoko Membia is just before you get to Bokwango in Boya. Yes, it says Bokwango. Same thing just happened here this evening. Some police officers came and arrested the prince of this village without warrants of arrest. They took him and they have refused to remove him, that they were sent by the divisional officer. Okay, that's what Enanga is reporting, but we need to also need to verify the information. Yes, but what do you guys expect from the bar now? This is what happened to. Yes, what do you expect from the bar?
Somewhere before coming to your question, I was not very comfortable with senior barrister.
Okay. When
he paints a picture that, except I did not get his language clear. When he speaks, I go away with the impression that some of his colleagues are criminals. I'm using his words. You don't behave gentle, or I go away with the impression that some of his colleagues go to the gendarmerie brigade and the police stations to challenge the commissioners and the commandant. And if that is the case, it means that we need to appreciate the commandants and the commissioners. If there are some lawyers who go there to impose, because at the end of the day, I want to think that we are taught that the police people form part of the judiciary. And part of the judiciary are those who should interpret the law to the common man. Whereas the lawyer does both. The lawyer reads the law, interprets it, and then defends the weaker citizens who do not have a good mastery of the law. If I'm wrong, at the end of the day, senior barrister will correct me. So, they are supposed to work in synergy. The person who interprets the law as the judiciary arm, who is like the auxiliary of the law to the common man, should be the police. Whereas the lawyer reads the law, interprets and defends the clients when it be. So I don't think, if there have been some of senior barristers' colleagues who have been going there to challenge these people, it therefore means that sometimes they are molested for real issues and we are not aware. That said, I think if the law remains the law in a normal country, even though we are talking in Cameroon, which is almost becoming an abnormal country, because everything is going its own way. Everybody is a president now. A brigade commander is a president where he is. The commissioner is a president where he is. The lawyers maybe wants to become presidents where they are. So nothing is agreed. But I think if a common ground could be found, where we all agree that if a summon is given, if a convocation is given to somebody, like we all know, when the first convocation is given and you don't attend, it doesn't invite the rule of force to the basics of the law that I know. Second convocation either does not invite the rule of force. It is on the third convocation that your case is referred to the State Council. I happen to be with some people that I learned, maybe informally, this kind of, to get this knowledge. At that time, it's the State Council that signs your warrant of arrest. And if you want to resist that arrest, that is where force comes in. And at this time, the lawyers, they are better placed to interpret the laws to the common man. Maybe you were resisting without knowing. But when you look at it from the face value position, one will be tempted to think that both parties are fighting over money. Because at that time, the lawyer will not be telling the client that this is where you faltered. But we're pushing the client and let the thing go to court. And I think that is where another problem comes in between them and the gendarmes and the police. Instead, because they are supposed to be advisory at one point. We have read so far.
We should sort this thing out of.
Yes. Instead of the lawyer. No, senior barrister. If there is no court at the gendarmerie, then you are agreeing with me that instead of advising somebody who has a convocation from the gendarmerie that meet the gendarmerie, subscribe,
Sort things out.
and sort things out. You people instead push the people that know. Let the gendarmerie send the thing to court. I make it. You people are my senior friends now, and I have most of you people around me, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. So at one point, I want to think that the commoners are misguided by the. I'm sorry to say this, they are misguided at one point by the lawyers, and at that point, the gentleman will say, "Bon, you brought in the lawyer, right? I will see how you leave this place." At that time, you are at the mercy of the gendarme or at the gendarmerie, which I think there should be a comprehensive meeting point between the lawyers and the police and gendarme, because at the end of the day, what brings them together, their meeting point is all about interpreting and applying the law.
Okay, it's interpreting and applying the law. But you did not answer what should we expect from the Bar Council?
Yes.
What?
I think every Cameroonian as of now, even those who does not know what obtains at the bar, is standing up and shouting justice to the lawyers. And for justice to be rendered to the lawyers, the bar, I don't know how they call the Bar Council, what? They have to stand up as one man and tell the Secretary of State for the National Gendarmerie that at this point, this is what we want. There should be a clear dichotomy between what operates at the gendarmerie and the rule of the lawyers. If not, if the distinction is not made on how the lawyers should approach the gendarmerie to get information and how they should be treated, the same thing will continue till the day that maybe something will happen accidentally to solve the problem. Because we are looking at it very lightly. The relationship between the lawyers, gendarmes, and the police is not cordial at all. And it's looking very competitive. And it's dangerous too.
Okay, it's dangerous too, yeah?
Yeah, I want to comment on the issue of what should be done to avoid such from occurring. I think there should be constant briefing. Normally in every establishment, every office where you have more than 5 staffs or employees, briefing is one of the basic that you do every morning before you dispatch them to their duty post. Because if this is done and caution is brought to these law enforcement officers, they will definitely think twice when acting when they arrive their duty post. So that is one way to resolve this issue. On the other hand, the Bar Council position on this issue is highly expected in the domain where, because when you look at the Bar Council, it's like the ministry in charge of lawyers in another way. So we expect to see them and act with the full force for the lawyers to be respected. Because you remember the crisis began as a result of lawyers were beaten up, and then this thing is still repeating itself because there have not been a firm stand where the lawyers, the Bar Council put it to the authority that be, that this is where you should not cross. Because in other countries, the law is respected. But in Cameroon, the law that is written is not what is applied. That is where the problem is, because there is a rule of law that distinguishes all those functions, so functions of the law enforcement officers and functions of the lawyers. And the problem is conflict. There is conflict here because maybe the law enforcement officer is not willing to give into the position of the law, and the lawyer is insisting that this position of the law must be respected. And that is where the conflict always arises. So there should be that clear cut, and that is, you should know your limit. The officer, the head of institutions should brief their staffs before sending them to the field, so that at least they should be conscious. At least for 24 hours, you will be conscious of what your boss told you while you were leaving the office to your duty post.
Well, I'm not cutting you. I just want to say that if you go to most police stations and gendarmerie stations, every Friday evening, they have what they call a recruitment, the force, the Kwakwala. There's a small meeting like that where instructions are given out as to who takes service next from Monday morning. Same instructions are given. But at one point, I think that the instructions are given and the follow-up is not effective, Mr. Leo. That's where the problem is. Because we have seen a situation where Janam commanders have been killed by their subordinates simply because they did not want to take instructions. It has happened. It has happened in many places. I think I know of 5 examples. So just to say that, as somebody who is somewhat close to them, they hold these meetings and these instructions are dished out firmly to them.
Some just do not respect.
Some just do not respect. And they don't respect because we all know how some of them get there. They bribe, they have their godfathers who are superior to the commandant. If the commandant gives order that I will write a report on you, they say, Vazi, write the report. You write the report, maybe I will be transferred from here to another place in a different rank. I'm talking, I don't want to disclose some information here.
Okay, there's no need for that. Now, I know that the bar already issued a statement. What are you guys expecting?
Well, before I come to that, Mr. Leo, let me take exception from what I heard Mr. Ndiwum say. No lawyer will want to mislead his clients at any unit. Because, you see, there are things that happen, and if you are not in the lawyer's file to see the elements, you cannot know whether he's giving sound counsel or not. In most cases, many people will not understand, but what lawyers see inside those units is terrible. Just about a week ago, I received a woman who came to my chambers with 5 people crying. She had been forced by a police officer to sign that she was owing her landlady money. That money was supposed to be the money that they find that this woman paid to Eneo for frauding, for stealing light. When I saw a police officer who was a person, called this woman and forced her to sign, acknowledging. So you want a lawyer to accept that type of thing? I filed a complaint against that officer to the state council. And when it was sent back to that very unit for investigation, the head of the unit went to the state council when I saw him and said, "Behau, look at what is happening. It will disturb my unit." So state council said, "Invite the woman to pay the money." I just looked at her and said, "Hey, you don't protect your people this way. This man has clearly violated the law." I just said, anyway. So you see an example of the type of things that you think a lawyer will mislead the client. I mean, in the face of flagrant illegality, a lawyer is not going to accept. You say you are keeping the man, keep him there, he will not die in the cell. You have limited time to keep him there. When you say you are keeping him, I will go to state council and say, please, they are keeping him. They will ask you to send him to court. And in the court there now, you will need legal elements for the matter to continue. Are you sure the policeman had legal elements to arrest this person?
Yeah, but so, where would the man be when he's taken to court? The man will be at a waiting trial or where?
What a waiting trial? You stay in the court there where the state council decides. Now, what is that? It does not take 1 day. Okay. Yes, you go to the court from morning to evening. By evening they decide, and you either go to your house or you are sent to prison. So no. You were with me now, Mr. Kum.
Yes.
So you were asking what we expect. You see, I'm happy that it is coming from Mr. Ndiwum and from the other panelists, because this is something that concerns the bar. And we, the lawyers, who've been looking at the bar council and say, please, sit up. We are having our campaigns now, by elections that are coming up in January. So yesterday, Equinox Television called me. They say, we want your reaction. I said, no. I cannot say anything before the bâtonnier. Call the bâtonnier, let him talk. I can't say anything before him. So until the bar council came out, otherwise you won't see me here. When they come out and make a statement, Now we can talk, because they are our government. They are not a ministry. They are the government of the bar. They are the government. So they have to talk first. So I'm happy that the Cameroon population is demonstrating good knowledge of the functioning of the bar. You know that it is the council that is in charge of management, and it is on them that devolves the duty to take very, very pertinent decisions. So in this particular case, I have already given you my own orientation. There are two. One, on the disciplinary side, these fellows, the bar should ask, they said, to dismiss these fellows from the gendarmerie. Two, on the criminal side, criminal prosecution should be introduced against these people before the military tribunal for torture, abuse of office, and I don't know, when he comes out of hospital, when my colleague comes out of office, we'll see the medical part of it, because that too will determine the degree of the intensity of the assault. You see, so they will be prosecuted for at least 3 offenses, and that will be a very good eye opener for any person who thinks that that is a nice way to go. So if they try it, well, I already told you that when they go to court, no lawyer will defend them. No lawyer. We have had those type of cases before. So that is what we expect from the bar, that they should put up a firm stand to the Minister of, to the Secretary of State for Defense, ask him to sack those people, and they should lodge file on behalf of Barrister Tamfu and of the bar. There should be 2 complaints, one by the bar, one by Barrister Tamfu, because the bar's image has been dragged into the mud. They have the right to complain. Tamfu too has the right to complain. So at least 2 complaints should come in against these people. Let them answer before the law as to what they have done.
Okay, let them answer to the law as to what they have done. We are left with 20 more minutes. Yes, we're going straight to discussing our second topic for tonight, which has to do with elections next year. What strategies should political parties implement to engage elections next year in the Northwest and Southwest region? The only real politician we see is Senior Barrister. Let me start with him. Yes, are you on the field already?
Mr. Leo, thank you very much. But you see, I'm not very comfortable with that topic, because we are dealing with a conflict-ridden region.
Yes.
And what strategies I'm putting in place to enable my boys to survive should not be discussed on television, because it's going to put them, their action in jeopardy, because they are not going to function well. No, truly, because what we are doing in the field is producing good yield, and I will not want certain people to know what we are doing.
Are you going for elections?
We are going, sir. We are going. I've told you this time with that number. We are going, and we are the first people who have succeeded in penetrating. All I can tell the population is, please come election day, don't fear, go out and vote. You will have a very peaceful and calm voting. Go out and vote. Go and vote the people of your choice, because we are making sure that we carry out our campaigns.
So your guys are working across the Northwest and Southwest
We
region?
are working, sir. You received my Northwest representative here. He was received here on House of Commons. Yes, he was here, and he told your colleague, that your junior colleague, that he has been carrying out his field work. And sometime we told you that our Northwest list for the council elections was closed. We have all the people reselected. So we are working, and it's not a nice thing for us to come and tell the population what we are doing, because some people somewhere will find it offensive that we are doing what they don't want us to do.
Ndiwum Emmanuel. Yes, we saw elections in 2018, but times have changed.
If they are not organized next year, they will be adjourned. If they are not organized, that does not mean that they've been adjourned. They will be adjourned if not organized. So please, people should know that municipal elections can be organized next year. Okay. They can hold next year. They will only be adjourned if they are not organized.
They were moved already to 2016.
No, sir. That text says, the text says,
they were moved already to 2026.
the text says will be adjourned if not organized. If not organized. So read between the lines, sir.
Will be adjourned to 2020.
Yes, if not organized.
Have the mandates be extended already for mayors and MPs?
No, MPs is different. For mayors, for the councillors, is different. So they said, if it is not organized, it will be sent to 2026.
Okay, yeah, Ndiwum is going to be a tough one for political parties in the Northwest and Southwest region next year.
Certainly. Certainly, it's going to be a difficult one. When my 3 days stay in Bamenda, I sneaked into various corners, and talking politics in Bamenda is dangerous, discussing some political issues in Bamenda, even the top gun, big guns, they have to sit in quiet corners where they know that there's security, because I was made to understand that don't talk here, you are not in Douala. Yeah. The people who dress very much here, as you see like this, are the boys. So don't come and put on. I'm talking with an SDF well-known official in Norwest. And if it could be the one running, we don't know. Let's not discuss it here. Where I think it is a joint where we could canvass and get voters. Then it is already announcing danger. Then I will begin to wonder how the magic that senior barrister is using for his boys to be in the field, to be on the field in Northwest and Southwest. Talk less of the fact that in Boyo, when I talk, senior barrister, you once told me that you were planted in Boyo. But when I placed my antenna in Boyo, I did not hear about Reform Party. But I'm wishing you well, hoping that in the days ahead, you finally extend it to Bello, Njini, Confundon, where I come from, so that at least I'll have some points to score about Reform Party. Mr. Leo, coming back to your question, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because, one, if you ask somebody about voting in Bamenda, the person is telling you that, you see, this is my home. You see, this is my brother. This is what is keeping me, not that voting. That even when they were to go and register secretly into the electoral list, it was not easy. And you'll be surprised that it was not made easy, because even some people who are supposed to facilitate the process for them did not do so. They had no protection at all. Information, which is supposed to be the first thing that a citizen of a country should be having, was not at their disposal. So when you tell them now that it is time for you to go and recollect their card, some say no. What I went through in the process of registration, I don't want to go there and be insulted again. Some even bully me. People are coming to register. I mean, the information that sometimes we should not even put them out. But looking at the election itself, I am afraid it will go the whole way. Because normally with the few ammo cars that we have in Bamenda, the civilian will use it. They will use the gendarme, they will use the police, they will use the military, and they will do their campaigns. People like senior barrister, do you have a standing army or military that will help you go through senior barrister?
Yeah, but so the electoral law does not provide ammo card to CPDM.
No, Mr.
But we should not even talk about.
Anyway, you are talking on official look at the official look of things. But what obtains on the field? I am telling you that some people are more protected than others when it comes to field work in voting in Northwest and Southwest. This one, somebody might not be very comfortable hearing this somewhere, but that's the reality. That some people are more protected than others. Do you think that, knowing that I have a position that was appointed by my boss, who is somewhere in Yaoundé, and then I have bodyguards, on the day of the voting, I will go out with a few family members, or all my family members will be protected, who will vote. But those people who do not have that protection, who will carry them along? Nobody will carry them along. At the end of the day, the person who voted will win. And the person who surely voted is the person whose security was guaranteed. It is as simple as ABC.
Okay, it's as simple as ABC. It's going to be difficult. Are you into politics? Are you advising some of them? What is the situation like in the Southwest region?
I think I would say I'm not into the kind of Cameroon politics.
Okay, you're into the kind of American?
I'm into leadership, because there is a difference between leadership and politics that have been solved in Cameroon.
Okay.
So I will say that first, let's look at, you have asked a question concerning Northwest and Southwest on election responsibilities. And I think that it's not going to be easy. First, if they were to vote, who are they voting for? What have these people done in the 8 years of being in crisis? Who have advocated? Who are those? What interests have they demonstrated for the Cameroon citizen, or for the Southwest or the Northwest population, to think that we can take the risk to go and vote for these people? First, me personally, I still think that election, the means of change in Cameroon, is still very far.
Okay, yeah, but we don't use this platform to discourage people.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll not use this platform to discourage people.
I am part of those that encourage people to register. I even took some to the registration.
Yeah, but when
because
you say,
it's my duty as a citizen, and to see that people have their civil right protected.
It is their right.
Yes, it is their right. They have to see it protected. But now we are saying that, who are they going to vote if they were to vote? Yeah. What have these people done?
Yeah,
to
but you give the impression that the people are supposed to vote only those who have been there. Don't you also think
politics should go with track record?
Yeah, but yes, you want those who are there to present a positive balance sheet to justify their re-election. But why don't you think that this could also be an opportunity for the birth of a new political class?
I don't think those that are there even have any track record that is positive, because if you want to,
no, I'm saying that please, I don't want, we are not mentioning people here. I'm saying that
yes.
Why don't you think that it is an opportunity to also birth new political leaders like you? Because if you think that these guys there have not senior barrister, he does not have a mayor or an MP down there, why don't you think that this is also an opportunity for people to elect new persons who should take these guys that you think have done nothing out of power?
That is what I am challenging those seeking power to have, to build a track record that is attractive for those voters. Because you don't just get up one morning and say, I want to represent this community as a mayor. You should have the character and track record that pushes these people to stand behind you and vote you. However, I'm not saying that the current system has built a very positive track record, because we have bad roads everywhere. That is an indication of bad track record. So I'm not discouraging politicians. I'm instead encouraging opposition parties to do more to attract voters on their side, because currently Cameroonians are fed up. They need change at all costs. But this change must be reflected on individual characters.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you are more interested in balance sheet. But what about those who have not handled any post of responsibility? Are you saying that they should not be voted because they have nothing to show for?
For you to become a leader, it's not a day job. You must have been doing things on the ground. So if we say that you have no, if you are claiming not to have handled a position, it means you are not a leader. Because for you to be a leader, you must be fighting to make things happen. Even from your little community, you must have done something. Even
there should be something.
Organized community work to make sure the road is in order, water is in order. That is community work that can push people to see that you have the mind of leadership.
So you are telling the people now to start profiling.
Yes.
Okay, they should start profiling potential candidates. But next year we're talking more of presidential elections, so we may not be seeing senior barrister regularly on Prime Eye, because will be out there campaigning to be the next president of Cameroon. The strategy to do for presidential elections, you necessarily do not need to be there, but sending a message of hope, a message that tells people that, okay, you guys have been under this condition for this time, give me the opportunity and I'll turn things around.
Thank you, Mr. Kum. I have to thank Mr. Ndiwum for coming up with his pronouncement, because I just texted my Northwest coordinator, who has replied. Are we in Boyo? We have our representative in Fundong, and we have had a meeting with some of the people there. So I don't know where you were sending your feelers. Reform Party is in Boyo. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You can see. I mean, you have enabled me to give you the proof that we are there, and that our policy, our strategy is working. It's something I cannot explain on TV, because there are some people somewhere who don't want elections, and we are trying to fight against that. We want the elections, so we don't want them to know what is happening. They will be taken aback, and I don't gain anything by telling you what I am doing, but I'm happy that my boys are actually working. And as you say, Mr. Kum, whether the elections are council or presidential, the essential thing is that we carry the message of hope to the people. And you can be my witness after the programs we have had here on Reform Party Manifesto, that we have the message of hope. The message of hope that if we are in power, corruption will be a forgotten story. Misappropriation of public funds, unemployment, and all those things, we are going to sweep them, because we have a clear-cut plan of action. The main topic for today, this conflict between lawyers and police people and gendarmes. In fact, I don't even need to be president of the republic. If you make me minister of justice today, I'll end it. I end it by just putting in place what we have proposed. What are these various units doing with judicial investigation? In fact, they have no business there. They have judicial police officers. Send them to go and work with the state councils. Simple. So that when they arrest any person, take the person to the state council, let his statement be recorded on the spot, and the state council will decide as to what to do with him. You don't need to be keeping cells. I mean, people who are hired to take care of the security of people and property, they don't do it because they find it more lucrative to be in their offices, air-conditioned offices, to be making judicial investigation that gives them more money. No, sir. That thing should be handed over to the state council with the judicial police officer, just like you have it at a special criminal court. They have their judicial police unit that carries out all the investigation. It should be like that. That way you don't have to decry the abuse of power by police, skirmishes with lawyers and all that. You see, we have that message of hope, and we think that if this country were to be entrusted to our care, we are going to make Cameroonians smile again.
Okay, we are going to make Cameroonians smile again, and it is at this juncture that we call it a wrap for tonight's edition of our Prime. Ndiwum Emmanuel, thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure.
Senior Barrister, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kum, for giving me the opportunity to say hi to all Reform Party members and sympathizers the world over, because they're not only in Cameroon, they're in Germany, they're in England, they're in USA, they're even in Australia. So I give you a special good evening, and thank you for making me a president.
Thank you too for coming for the first time, Mr. King Afric.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Leo, and I'm pleased to wish our listeners in and out of the country to continue to listen to this beautiful channel that has brought hopes to most youths in and out of the country to be able to voice their opinions throughout.
Thank you all for watching, especially to you. Desmond for production. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.